The Moving Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data, it's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours.
When you partner with Axon, you immediately gain access to a full range of products and solutions designed to meet the complex needs of today's grower. We carry all major brands and sizes of tires and wheels. We specialize in large diameter wheels for large equipment. We have one of the largest OEM replacement wheel inventories in North America. Known for extreme flotation setups, duals, and triples, we have wheels for all makes and models of tractors, sprayers, combines, and grain carts. If we don't have the wheel in stock, we'll custom build, sandblast, and paint in-house. There isn't a more vast inventory in North America dedicated to helping dealers move more iron. With facilities on the West Coast and in the heart of the Midwest, leverage our 230,000 square feet of indoor inventory to solve any problem a grower may have. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here. Moving iron.
Hello and welcome to the Moving Iron Podcast. I've got a couple guys that have been on here before, but I got Justin Canada and Matthew Fleet from James River Equipment out on the extreme East Coast. How you guys doing, man?
Doing great.
Good.
Hi, Casey.
How you guys, man? Good talking to you guys again. It's been a little bit. You guys are out there on the Virginia, North Carolina, and where else? Where are you guys out there?
Yeah, so we're Virginia, kind of the western half of North Carolina, a little bit of South Carolina on the western side. Okay. So that's primarily our footprint.
Right on. Just so we can get everyone kind of introduced. So Justin, introduce yourself and what do you do for James River Equipment?
So my name is Justin Canada. I'm the director of large ag for James River Equipment. So help with the sales side, product support, our integrated solutions, help Matthew with our used equipment. We just kind of all work together on that side of the business.
Right on. And Matthew, go ahead and talk about what you do.
Okay, Casey, I currently my role is director of the used equipment, and that's my primary focus every day. But James River's kind of kind of open team style the way we operate, and so I wind up with my hands in a lot more things than just used equipment every day. But that is my primary focus, is the used equipment, and the majority of that time is spent on the large ag.
Right on. Okay. So talk a little bit about the crop mix, where you guys are at, what's your primary crops, and where do you how often does that crop rotation happen?
Yeah, I would say typically for the majority of our tilled acres, we are corn, soybean, and also grow winter wheat.
Okay.
So there'd be the classic rotation there for the majority of our tilled acres. But and then outside of that, we have a few areas that focus on cotton, peanuts, and then we do also have a couple stores that deal with tobacco.
Okay.
Farms as well. But probably the largest, total acreage in our area that our farmers are growing is hay.
Yeah.
So there's a huge hay business and cattle business, along with the poultry business in Western Virginia and Western North Carolina.
Right on. And hay, is that like alfalfa, or what are you growing? Like just grass hay, or what are you doing?
Yeah, mostly grass hay.
Okay.
Yes.
Right on. Okay. Right on. So let's just stick on the used equipment theme here. So I guess as you take a look at what's going on in the marketplace right now, we've seen, obviously, the factories are back up and running. Everyone's getting what they need to get when they need to get it. We saw a bunch of stuff in 23 hit the market all at one time. That's not a big shocker to anybody, but it sure happened a lot faster than I anticipated it happening. I kind of thought it'd be kind of a slow trickle going into 24 that we saw, but it felt like everything just showed up all at once that had been canceled or delayed or everything like that into 23. So I guess, Matthew, since you deal with it every day, as you look at the used equipment marketplace right now, what are you seeing, and kind of what is your kind of vision of things going on there right now?
Yeah, so locally for James River, we've had sort of the same impact of just what you talked about. But fortunately for us, we've had a very nice, and continue to have a very nice pre-sold ahead on our first trade-ins,
right?
And in a lot of cases, second trade-ins. So we're still riding that peak, if you will, on having homes for a lot of our trade-ins at this point in time. So we haven't felt that massive buildup on our lots. Now it's up from where it was, yes, sure, but it's nowhere near the historic highs that we've seen, and it's not in a situation where we feel panicked about it at all. But we are very keenly aware of and we're watching what's happening, because it's certainly happening at other dealership locations. So it's, I've been using that as my guide to forecast for the next 6 months and the next 12 months. So, but on a local level, we have not quite felt quite the same as some of our Midwest brethren have.
Yeah, it's when you're in a situation like you're talking about, it's easy to use that as a governor or a throttle back a little bit, to where you can kind of take a hard look at what you're doing and start making those decisions, and being more forthcoming with what you're doing, thinking out ahead of what's going on, especially if you have a situation like you're in, where you're getting those first generation trade-ins sold, really, because that's really the hard part, right? In the washout cycle, getting past that first generation, second generation trades. And once you can kind of get past that, your buying public really opens up, right? So you have a big, broader group of people you can look from. When you're, so Justin, when you're looking at your perspective, and your role with the thing, what are you looking at, and how you seeing the market right now?
Well, I think if we go back, a lot of our trades are absorbed within our own AOR. We do not do a lot of wholesale. Traditionally, equipment has come east if we did not have the used equipment to fill the need. So when we're looking at EOPs coming up, through sprayers, planters, combines, same as we did in previous years, we're really having to focus on what is the washout plan within our own territory. We don't really look at it and say, hey, we're going to wholesale a percentage of these. So that's not the strategy. The strategy is, what are we going to wash out within our own footprint? So it's really just having a communication with our salespeople, our store managers. What is the plan when you bring us an opportunity? let's think through and walk through the plan. It's not just a sale. There's multiple sales that stack behind it. So
Sure.
using what Matt's forecasting, having lots of conversations, I think our folks have really bought into that, and they understand it, which really helps.
Mm-hmm.
We put a lot of ownership in that process with the salespeople and with the stores that are acting the sales out.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's a nice scenario when you can look at that downstream. I just keep coming back to that. You go look at, what your first trade is going to be and where it's going, second trade where it's going. So what's that third and fourth trade look like? And you can start putting those things together. And you string those things together, you're doing a lot of good things for not just the dealership, but the customer too, because you're looking at their trade value and what you can do with them, and you start managing your risk that way. It puts you in a better situation to have that conversation with the customer about where they're at and what you're doing, and you're not speculating anymore. You're actually putting hard numbers into stuff that you can now work your deals with. And I think that's a huge opportunity that you guys have in front of you right now.
Yeah, I think with our customer base, being a little further east, we still have a group of customers that are committed to farming, and they've realized like the technology race, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're really having to adapt and maybe take an extra jump in generation
Right.
of equipment,
Mm-hmm.
because they need that technology advantage. So it's really played well with bringing along some of our customers that may have been a little hesitant to adapt to some of the technology. We've been able to move them into that third machine,
Right.
and keep them moving.
Yep. So that was my next question. I was going to ask both of you guys about just the technology side of the business, what we see happening now. The performance upgrade kits or precision upgrade kits. Seems like every manufacturer now has got some kind of an upgrade kit that they're selling at some level. Whether it's there's some third party stuff out there too, where it's not even from a manufacturer that they're looking at. So different stuff coming in. I've had this conversation a lot, where you start looking at some of these machines and what you can do with them now, and you're really starting to be able to take advantage of. I've got a 5 or 7 or 10-year-old machine that I can now upgrade to the latest greatest technology and not have to spend the $800,000 or $1 million or whatever the number is that you're doing. You look at some of the stuff like on planners, do some planner upgrade kits and those things. You can look at those from the perspective of it's about half of what the new one costs when you start looking at those things. As you look at your business right now, Justin, from the whole good sell side of things, how are you guys looking at that strategy, and what are you doing to kind of start kind of prepping the table, I guess, for what the next 5 years is going to bring as far as technology goes?
So I think the upgrades that we have done have been with customers that own and are upgrading their existing equipment.
Right.
It hasn't been from a recon standpoint. I'm a little leery of doing a recon and saying, hey, we're going to upgrade a planner, for example, because they're just so specific.
Sure. Yeah.
But, we had 2 really strong years of planner and sprayer sales, which carry the most of the upgrades. Mm-hmm. So people really upgraded by new machines.
Right.
Where I do see that play is the next year or two, as we potentially see kind of people pulling back a little bit, doing what's necessary. When you talk about the third owner, looking at some upgrades there. But it goes back to our strategy is going to be, we know that there's a potential to have a pullback in new orders this year. Mm-hmm. So as we're having those conversations, doing the homework to offer those upgrades from the standpoint of, hey, the plan is to run that planner that you could potentially upgrade for 3 more years. Let's go ahead and step it up to electric drive or, whatever you're going to do. Add exact apply to a sprayer. Right. It'll put you in a better position when you go to sell it down the road. I think it's a huge opportunity, but it has not been something we've used as a recon or a remarketing tool yet. Yep.
So Matthew, let's talk a little bit about this. So as Finn and I were talking about something the other day, and I was looking at it when I was recording my podcast for Successful Farming. I started thinking through the whole used planner scenario, right? And to me, there's 5 ways you can buy a planner now. You can buy a new one, you can buy a used one that was, been used and comes back in, nothing's been changed on it. You can take the one in your shed and upgrade it, or you can take the one that's been upgraded and traded in, right? And then you've got, the custom thing out there the guy does in the welding shop type thing, right? So you got those five scenarios. As you look at that scenario unfold in front of you from a used equipment perspective, I mean, this is like the $1 million question I'm getting ready to ask you here, but how are you looking at those upgrade kits on those planters that you see popping up everywhere, especially here in the Midwest, where they're trading in that 2015 planter that got updated in 2022 type of thing, and now you've got that. It's not a 15, it's not a 22, but it's somewhere in the middle type of thing. Like, what's that look like? For my seat on the bus, I've always looked at that as something it's 5 years old from the day that it got the upgrade on. So if it's a 2022 upgrade kit, I'm looking at it like it's a 2016, 2017, 2018 model planter. What's your thoughts on that, and how are you going through that thought process?
Yeah, I know from past experience, particularly with some of the other brands, particularly Precision, they were sort of first out right at the gate. This, guys, retooling their entire planter. Mm-hmm. And what I've seen here in our region on that resale market for those planters is it's that extra equipment has added very little to the total resale value of the equipment.
Right.
And then when we've had guys who want to upgrade, I think our salesmen have led the conversation with, is this upgrade worth it? Is it going to pay for itself? Because I can't promise you that the resale value is going to be greatly improved when you decide to trade it the next time in 5 years.
Right.
Because like Justin already mentioned, and I know it's the same everywhere, it's not specific to our region, planters are so specific to each farm. I mean, look, I would love to know the number of widgets and brands of companies that sell things to bolt onto your planter. It's an amazing market, and it's so neat and unique, and I love it. But at the same time, I think outside of the basic toolbar and what you've got, I don't know if any of that adds a whole lot to our resale value and what we want to own those machines for. Because the next guy just probably not going to have the same idea as the previous owner about what he wants to do with it. So, but I am curious down the road seeing, like, let's say a 2016 planter that's been, converted to an Exact-Emerge, for example. Mm-hmm. You got a nice 16 row, Exact-Emerge planter, where the entire unit's been replaced. I do feel like those will carry value forward. Yep. I agree with you. That's not just an add-on. That is the entire row unit was replaced, and I think then you will take that into account that it was an upgrade. But really, I think it's going to look more in line with whatever year that upgrade was done, how many acres are on it now, and go from there. Yep. But it's going to take a keen eye in the field with the inspections and understanding what's on each of those planters. So it's gonna be some wild times in the future for sure on planters.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly right. When you look at how the precision marketplace came in, where you're replacing individual components, whether you're doing speed tube or 2020 downforce, whatever it is that you were doing, right? Those individual pieces, and you could kind of halfway do this, that, and the other thing with those things. Now with Precision coming out with that Cornerstone system they have, which is their complete row unit, just like on the Deere side. Now every manufacturer now has an opportunity to do a rebuild. Not only that, you have these custom jobs that you have now, where a guy can just get a 7x7 bar and start hanging row units off of it and making sure you got the right harnesses and those kind of things. Now you really kind of start having all of that come together. It is going to be, I mean, I look at this a little bit as in the planter marketplace as kind of the Wild West a little bit, because nobody knows what's going to happen when you get out there, right? You're having these machines come in. How are you going to take into consideration how many acres are on the bar, how many acres are on those row units, those kind of things. The conversations I've had with guys about it is, if you're going to go down the complete row unit swap, my opinion of that is, I think you should run that system until the next level of technology comes out, and then do it again, right? And start looking at that. To me, I believe looking at the future of these kind of upgrade kits is that, I hate to say this, but there's going to be, you're going to have a warehouse someplace that's got 162 row units someplace, and you're going to go start selling 24 at a time or 12 at a time or something like that. 16 at a time, that kind of stuff.
We did 4 upgrades in one of our shops where my office is at.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys had them the customer didn't want them, all these row units, and the guys were going to throw them in the dumpster and haul them to the scrapyard behind the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hold on a second, because I knew one set I knew was really nice, and I knew what it was. I was like, let's try selling them. Stuck them on auction time, and darn if we didn't sell all of them, and brought way more money than we thought. I mean, blew me away. I mean, one guy came from like Alberta, Canada to pick up 24 row units.
Right. Yeah.
And I think he paid in the, I don't know, it was, $500 a row or something. But it blew me away how many guys are in welding shops doing what you're talking about.
Yep.
It really did.
And you start thinking about it from the perspective where you start throwing those things together and you start talking about, you got Gen 1 exact emerge technology versus Gen 2, 3, or 4 or whatever it is. And you kind of got this hybrid mix of what you got, and how do those things start playing together? That's what I'm getting at. I mean, it's like there's so many moving parts now. What's that look like in the future, So Justin, as you're looking at these, kind of the future here. So we got, the autonomous things coming down the pike here. I really thought that as we move closer to autonomy that we would see smaller equipment, and that's not happening. We're seeing bigger equipment. We got class 11 combines now. We got 800 horsepower tractors and those kind of things. As you look at this unfolding, what are your thoughts on that as far as, how much, because we had this conversation every year, how much bigger could this stuff get? I feel like we're there. I don't know how much bigger stuff could get just from an infrastructure perspective, but you start looking at roads and bridges and everything else, running over people's mailboxes and everything else when you're driving down the road. As you're looking at these things start to unfold, how do you think technology is going to play into that? Are you it's just going to stay the same and we're just going to have bigger machines pulling bigger platforms? Because for the longest time, I looked at like a DB120 as like, I don't know who's going to pull a high-speed DB120, right? How do you do that? Well, now you got, 800 horsepower and 715 horsepower with the case side and those kind of things. It makes you can do it now, right? So now you got some 10 mile an hour, 100 foot, 120 foot planters out there. What's your thought there? Do you see your customers come to you and say, hey, I've got the capacity now to get some bigger stuff, I'm going to do that? Or do you kind of feel like it's going to stay, your customers are going to stay in that same horsepower range they're in now?
I mean, we're kind of limited on our geography.
That's
just
true.
Smaller fields. So I think from an industry, starting with the bigger equipment and kind of the Midwest, northern, environments where you have really big open fields, it makes sense to kind of get it worked out and figure out the system. Mm-hmm. I think the conversation I hear with our salespeople and our customers is it's all about their interest is in the time, with labor shortages or how am I going to get more done with less. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of as it mainstreams, it does, trend down to, your what I would say your average size equipment, your 12, 16 row, your 8,000 series tractors, your sprayers. I do think that in our geographic area, we do have customers that could utilize that from a time savings. I think it's as it becomes more mainstream, but it's not as much as, the size and scale. The equipment's going to get bigger to work with those larger operations. I think as it becomes more mainstreamed and kind of accepted, people get comfortable with it, which I think is happening quicker than what we anticipated. Right. From a time and labor kind of operational standpoint, I do think customers will be open to it. And I think it eventually makes its way into markets that we're probably not even really considering right now. Just like you look at guidance. I mean, people are asking for guidance on smaller machines, and that's kind of a really, I guess, a emerging market for us. They're just looking for that advantage on the smaller operations. When I'm talking smaller operations, 200-300 acre farms are like, hey, we could really benefit from this. We have less to work with. I think it's kind of the same thought about, the automation and autonomy is, again, everybody comes back and looks at how can I add more time to my day, more time to my operation, and get, more done with less. I think it happens faster than we think it will. I don't think it's like a 10 to 15 year. I think this is a less than 10-year journey.
Oh, I think so too. I think if there's one industry that's going to benefit greatly from autonomy, it's agriculture. And that's simply because of, like you just talked about, you got all the labor constraints that we see happening right now. I mean, there's more and more people out there that are having a hard time finding not just skilled labor, but just labor in general, just someone to sit on there. And you're seeing more and more technology come down the pike that has a lot to do with, okay, so we can, whether it's machine sync, for example, leader follower technology, those kind of things. Those kind of things are going to really start to play out in a different direction than what I think we've ever seen. I think once it starts going, like you said, it's going to catch fire and run.
Yeah. I think, the operator, not being in the tractor, kind of an operatorless machine, I think that will get there. I think when you look at the concerns of our growers is we're trying to, they see the benefit of the technology. They're just like, how can I train, seasonal operators or operators to run all this? So I think the automation piece of it grows even faster, and then that will kind of bring back some of the automation as far as the autonomous piece of it. But you're really having somebody kind of in the cab or in the operator station as kind of a fail safe. Yep. But the more you can automate it, it's going to make it easier for them to adapt to the technology offerings. So
100%. 100%. So Matthew, as you take a look at the technology side of the stuff, how many are your used buyers that you guys have coming in? How many of those used buyers are really keen on, hey, I make sure it's got this activation or these different aspects of technology? When you're looking at that, what are some of the key factors guys are looking at right now when they're saying, I want to upgrade, so does it have X, Y, and Z?
Yeah, Casey, I think the biggest change would be that probably near 100% of those buyers now ask those questions. And that changed really, really quickly. I want to say about 2 years ago. And I noticed our integrated solutions team, I noticed their workload change from things they were focusing on to where they are now spending a lot of time with that person buying maybe that third trade on the combine or the third, that tractor that's 10 years old. Because now they're having to train those folks, right? They're kind of behind the curve. And so it's still their first, maybe planter with suction control or their sprayer. There's something there that's new for the first time. So, that curve is pretty steep when you're trying to learn and teach those guys. But I would say every single sale that happens with that older equipment and that buyer, they're having that conversation. And 2 or 3 years ago for our market, that was not happening. And now it's become, sort of the norm. So that's kind of exciting to see. And then once they leap, man, they want to go all in. So that's fun to watch.
I talk about this in the idea of texting. So when I first got my first cell phone, 20 years ago, however long it was, the idea of having to push, 3 times to get to the letter you want and all the way through, that was the dumbest thing until they came out with the keyboard thing. Then all of a sudden you're like, this, why would I call anybody? I can just text them. You know what I mean? It's that evolution of technology that keeps going there. So, all right, last topic here. I'll ask both you guys this last question, then we'll close it down after this. But I'm at a point now where I'm looking at technology with what's out there and things that are coming down the pike, especially with the upgrade stuff, that technology is going to start picking winners and losers, right? I don't think, as I look at the things that are out there, I don't see a place where, I don't need X to farm anymore is actually going to be something that you're going to have to is that you're going to be able to say that. As I look at these things, not because you don't want to have it or whatever it is that your issue is, it's because of the organic revenue that gets generated from that by using less chemicals or whatever it is, fertilizer, or whatever it is that's out there. As I look at things and how they come down, if you're an early adopter, I think there's going to be some opportunities for you to be more aggressive in your growth structure than a guy that is, buying something that may be 5, 6, 7 years old, and how things work out. I guess, Justin, start with you first. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? And am I out here on an island by myself?
No, I think when you're talking to growers, kind of on the full spectrum, the late adapters to the early adapters, they're all having that same conversation. And it used to be, you take a sprayer, for example, and it was like, well, last year, hey, I would have preferred a non-exact apply, less nozzle control sprayer. I'm used to that. I don't see the benefit in it. The conversation now just seems like in literally like 12 months. And I know you got the See and Spray promotions and a lot of stuff going on as far as there's a lot of data out there for customers to look at about these options. Now they're having a conversation. Well, when I update sprayers, I want to go to an exact apply, for example, and hey, by the way, can I get a See and Spray upgrade to it? Right. I mean, they're thinking 2 steps, 3 steps ahead, and it all comes back to, I understand between whether it's regulation, reporting, having better data to manage my operation and being more competitive. Like, they are thinking about all these factors, and it's kind of wide spectrum. Mm-hmm. It's not just on that front end. And that's really been a shift in our area, but I felt like in the last 12 months. I mean, it's been really evident that people are really thinking about that. And that's ASPs, our service providers, that's our farmers, that's everybody's thinking about it. It's just kind of it's really good to see. It makes the conversation easier when you're trying to sell solutions. Right. And that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to sell the next best thing that's going to help them. It's good to have that customer thinking about it, to go on that journey with you. Pretty positive.
That's you brought up a good point. That's something I've talked about a few times too, is the machinery, in my opinion, is going to have, there's a point in time when used equipment is going to be greatly affected by how it can be upgraded and what can be upgraded to. Yeah. I think those are going to have, I have this vision of the future where you have a price for the chassis on the sprayer and a price for the wet kit, because they're two different, they're in different parts of the life cycle of that machine, right? I mean, something's pretty good, something's pretty early technology, something's pretty late technology. So you're going to have to worry, kind of look at that and how those things play together. So it'll be interesting to watch how that plays out. Yeah. Matthews, you take a look at that. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Casey. I don't think you're out on an island, but I'm always reminded of the other, successful operators that we do business with that are really large, but aren't on the front end of the technology curve. Continue to sort of lag behind, and they appear to be very successful and very profitable. So I don't ever want to discount the sort of entrepreneurial spirit and the ingenuity of a farmer to figure things out on their own. So I think there's still always going to be layers of the technology and the equipment. And it's what makes our business so unique, and how all the different dealerships survive, because we're all unique, and makes it a lot of fun. We'd like for it to be cleaner and everybody, hey, just jump on this and this is all we got to sell, But I mean, where else can you go in and buy parts for things built in the 1960s and also buy them for an autonomous tractor today?
Good point.
I don't know. I'm sure there probably is an industry somewhere that's similar to us, but I think it's very few. It creates incredible challenges for us, but it's also opportunity where we get to sort of manage all those, do business with all those different types of operators and accounts. It's fascinating.
Yep, it is. It's very, very unique times that we're living in, for sure, guys. So, well, guys, that's probably a good place to stop. Justin, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
You can email me at jcanada@jamesriverequipment.com or call the dealership here in Ashland, Virginia. Be glad to talk to you. But that's my best way to contact me.
Right on. And Matthew, what's the best way to get hold of you, man?
Yeah, same for me, man. Everybody in the company had the same emails. First initial, last name, complete at jamesriverequipment.com. And, of course, they can always go through UK, so you know how to find me.
That's right. I definitely do. Well, fellas, I appreciate your time coming on the podcast here, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been a good time.
Yep.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with
Casey.
Moving Iron. Yeah, appreciate it, man. I'm Casey Seymour with Moving Iron Podcast. Check me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Moving Iron LLC. Go to LinkedIn at Moving Iron Podcast. Check out the video version of this over on the YouTube channel at Moving Iron Podcast. And you can see us on TikTok as well, the same handle. Got a new website, movingironllc.com. Check it out. Got some updates there. And you got the Moving Iron Summit coming up here November 4th through the 6th. If you're interested in that, go ahead and get signed up for that. Both of you guys have come to that, I think, about every year. Every year it's been around. Justin, talk a little bit about what you gained from that when you come to it.
Well, just the insights. I think the best thing is just the working with the other dealers, and the good thing is it's not just all one brand. There's multiple brands there. You kind of different parts of the country, just trading ideas, building relationships. It's been the biggest benefit.
Awesome, man. Matthew, what's some of the takeaways you get from that?
Yeah, same there. The camaraderie between the brotherhood of the used equipment is we're a unique bunch, you know.
We are,
and it's awesome to swap stories. But like Justin said, meeting folks from around the country who you may do business with or have done business with for years, but never get to meet face to face. Great place to catch up and learn from everybody there.
Right on. Well, guys, it's been fun. We'll catch you again next time.
Thank you.
Right on. I'm Casey Seymour with
Thanks,
Justin
Casey.
and Matthews. Come Iron, folks. Out. Iron Podcast is brought to you by these great sponsors. Are you looking to value your equipment more accurately, target the right buyers and close more deals, reach your ideal customer? Then look no further. Fusable isn't just about ag data. It's about action. Our best-in-class solution empowers you to value your equipment accurately, make informed decisions, and find the perfect prospects. Ignite your dealership's growth at fusable.com/movingiron-podcast. Out in the field, every decision counts. You wouldn't plant without testing your soil, so why would you prospect blind? Introducing EDA, your one-stop shop for ag equipment intel. EDA goes beyond specs and prices. You get deep dive data on every piece of equipment like UCC filings that help track ownership changes and uncover potential sales leads. D&B firmographics, which help you understand the financial health and buying power of potential customers. Market trends that help you stay ahead of the curve, and insights on equipment demands and pricings. With EDA, you're not just looking at data, you're seeing opportunity. Find the right buyer, sell smarter, and build lasting relationships. Visit edadata.com for your free demo and unlock the power of knowledge. For over 80 years, Iron Solutions has been your go-to data source for ag dealers, lenders, and manufacturers. Get powerful appraisal and value forecasting tools that fuel profitable decisions anytime, anywhere. Get your free demo at ironsolutions.com. Iron Solutions, confidence in every click. Today, there are many ways to finance ag equipment, but nobody delivers simple, fast, or flexible financing like AgDirect. Learn more about your options to buy, lease, and refinance equipment at agdirect.com. Valley Transportation has been hauling ag and construction equipment across the country for the past 33 years. Call Parker at 800-657-4910 for all your trucking needs. At Valley Transportation, our goal is to help you reach yours. This podcast is proudly provided by Axon, helping dealers move more iron for the past 100 years. Find out more at axontire.com. Move more iron with Axon.
Moving iron in the 21st century. Hard-working people working hard for you and me. Moving iron time and time again. Through the years you'll find us here.